The exploration vessel Velisar drifted quietly through the Sol system, its hull glowing dim blue under the light of Earth's sun. The ship belonged to the Dolaran Union, a peaceful alliance of scholars, scientists, and explorers from the edge of the galaxy. For centuries, they had studied stars and charted new systems, avoiding war and violence. They believed in knowledge above all, and now they had found something unexpected. A planet, blue, green, cloud-covered, warm, full of oxygen, water, and signs of complex life. Earth. The crew watched in silence as their main viewing screen zoomed in. Continents, oceans, cities, machinery, movement. There are life forms, said first observer Kelvin, his four thin fingers tapping the console. Billions of them, bipedal, social, technological. Captain Saren Var looked at the data feed. Have they noticed us? No, replied Kale. They're using electromagnetic signals, but nothing beyond their upper atmosphere. Primitive space tech. The ship's science team, 10 members strong, stood behind the observation deck, whispering in excitement. A new intelligent species, a true discovery. Kale sent out the drones. 5 small silver orbs launched silently from the underbelly of Velisar. Diving into Earth's atmosphere like comets, they spread out, one over a desert, one over a forest, one over a giant floating metal structure in the ocean, one into the upper layers of a city's air traffic network, and one into a suburban neighborhood. The drone floated down, invisible to human eyes, above a grassy park. Children played below, laughing, screaming, running in every direction. The machine scanned their movements, their heat signatures, their language. They are younglings, Kale noted, unarmed, unaware. But the drone didn't return. It paused. One child had looked directly at it. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, with a bright yellow jacket and wild hair, had stopped running. She tilted her head and smiled. The drone faltered. Its feed glitched. Static pulse spike. Malfunction alert. On board the Velisar. The science team leaned forward. What is it doing? Asked Tech Officer Rin. Unknown. It's experiencing a feedback loop. The child walked closer, still smiling. Then, the drone dropped from the sky like a rock. It crashed into a tree, smoking, hissing, and twitching dots. All across the command deck, lights turned red. That is not possible, said Captain Saren. Kale was silent. The other 4 drones returned as expected, delivering terabytes of data. Human physiology, animal life, environmental samples. But none of them experienced what the 5th one did. Only that one had gotten close. Kale replayed the footage. Zoom in, enhanced the human child's face. It wasn't just a smile, it was something else. Awareness. The girl had seen the drone, known it, measured it. Impossible, whispered Rin. They don't have that kind of tech. It wasn't tech, Kale replied. It was instinct. Captain Saren stepped back from the display. What are you saying? Kale stood slowly. I think they evolved with war. Every movement, every glance, it's not learned. It's built in. They don't react to danger. They calculate it. Rin scoffed. You're basing this on a child. No, Kale said quietly. I'm basing it on what killed our drone. It wasn't attacked. It broke itself trying to escape. Silent Saren walked toward the viewport. Earth spun below, innocent and silent. Record everything. Log the species. Kale nodded and opened the official catalog entry. Species name, human self-identified. Classification, sentient bipedal mammal technology level. Emerging interplanetary threat assessment. Unknown. He hesitated. Then he added, note, exhibit signs of genetic adaptation for aggression, adaptability, and emotional manipulation, possibly bioengineered by environmental pressure. Further contact not recommended until more is known. He closed the file and stared out at the planet. Rin frowned. This doesn't make sense. How can something so young be so dangerous? Kale didn't answer, because he remembered something. When the drone crashed, just before the feed cut out, it recorded one sound. The girl had laughed, not cruel, not angry, just ... playfully. Like she knew they were watching, like she didn't care, like it was a game. Saren finally broke the silence. We'll mark the system. No landings, no further contact. He looked at Earth one more time, then turned to his crew. We didn't find a species, he said quietly. We found a warning. The council ship Verix 12 hovered above Earth's atmosphere, its hull glistening under the blue planet's sunlight. Inside the ship, quiet tension filled the air. Captain Rallan stood in the observation chamber, staring down at the world below. It looks peaceful, whispered his second-in-command. Vel looks, Rallan said. That's the problem. We only see what they want us to see. The last drone they sent Unit 4K9 had captured something unexpected, a human child smiling, staring directly into its camera. Seconds later, the drone shut down mid-air and crashed, but there were no weapons detected. No atmospheric interference, no known hacking signal. It simply stopped. The council had labeled the event a non-hostile anomaly, but Captain Rallan disagreed. He requested permission for a small ground team to investigate, and now they were ready. Team Zeta, prepare for insertion. Rallan ordered. 6 beings in shimmering silver armor stepped forward. Elite researchers, trained in first contact missions. No weapons, no fear, just science. As they entered the drop shuttle, Vel spoke quietly to the captain. "Are you sure this is wise? We still know so little." Ralin didn't answer at first. Then he whispered, "Sometimes peace hides what war cannot." Earth surface level, Forest Zone 12, Northern Hemisphere. The shuttle descended through cloudy skies. No warning signals, no resistance, no reaction. That landed in a clearing surrounded by tall trees and birdsong. The research team stepped out, scanning everything. Atmosphere stable, gravity normal, wildlife detected, no hostiles. They walked deeper into the forest. It was quiet, too quiet, too quiet. Team leader Saren paused beside a large tree. His scanner was blinking rapidly. "Something just pinged my motion radar," he said. "Where?" one asked. Saren pointed, but there was nothing there. Leaves rustled, a shadow moved, then a laugh, a small, cheerful laugh. All 6 researchers turned quickly. From behind a tree, a human child stepped out, no older than 8, blonde hair, dirty face, curious eyes. She wasn't afraid. She smiled, just like the one from the drone recording. Saren took a cautious step forward. "Hello, we mean no harm." She tilted her head, and then she ran. "Follow her," Saren said quickly. They moved fast, but the girl was faster, dodging through trees like she knew every root and rock. Then she vanished, gone, like smoke. Searched for her signal. Nothing. Not even a heat trace. "Split into pairs," Saren ordered. "We'll find her." Pair 1. 12 minutes later, SRI searcher Darlow and Unit T3 moved along a narrow path. Then T3 stopped. Thermal spike detected ahead, the android said. They stepped through the underbrush and found a small teddy bear lying in the dirt. It looked handmade. The moment Darlow touched it, his scanner shorted out. Smoke poured from the device. Then came a sound click. A whisper from the trees. "Too slow." Darlow turned and was gone. Not killed. Gone. Unit T3 screamed across the comms. "Contact. We're under attack. Signal lost. Pair to -19. Minutes later, Saren and Cole moved toward an abandoned human campsite. Empty tents, no bodies, just silence. Then they saw the symbols carved into the trees, drawn on rocks, shapes, circles, eyes, flames, human words etched crudely. "We see you. You shouldn't have come, Ron." Cole stepped back. Afraid, Saroon raised his cum. "Captain Roland, request immediate evac." But the signal was dead. Pair 3. 24 minutes later, no sound. Just forest, and shadows, and whispering back. On the Verex 12 orbit, above Earth, Captain Raylan paced the bridge. "Still no contact?" he asked. Vel shook her head. "All surface signals cut off. No visuals, no beacons, no emergency alerts." Ryland stared at the blue sphere outside the viewport. "We're pulling them out. Prep emergency retrieval drone." But when the drone descended to the last known coordinates, there was nothing. No suits, no scanners, no bodies. Only the teddy bear, resting where the shuttle had landed. They recovered the toy. No blood, no message, just one word stitched crudely onto the back. "Observation. Council transmission to 18 hours later." Captain Relland submitted his report. The first line was all they needed. "First contact mission failed. All personnel missing. No signs of violence, just disappearance." He paused before sending it. Then he added one more line. "Do not send more. I fear they are studying us now." As he sent the file, Rayla stared out the window one last time. Earth still looked quiet, still looked peaceful. He whispered to himself, that girl wasn't smiling because she was happy. She was smiling because we had no idea what we walked into. And far below, in the same forest, the child sat on a log, humming softly, not alone. Around her, others watched silently from the trees. Not human, not alien, just survivors. High above the galactic core, in the archives of the Central Council Library, a silence fell over the data hall. 4 alien researchers stared at the screen. The youngest one, a silver-skinned Vyari, whispered, "This can't be accurate." The lead archivist, Tolanarik of the Chrisen race, simply nodded. His long fingers tapped through the human data logs. Wars, disasters, plagues, extinction-level threats. Every time the data reached a civilization collapse point, it just kept going. "They don't stop," Tolanarik muttered. "They don't slow down. They adapt." Across the galaxy, most species grew from peace. Humans, they grew from fire. Ancient Earth. Year 1348, a plague swept across the planet. Bodies stacked in streets. Cities were abandoned. Half the population died. Status: humans survived. Society rebuilt. Medicine advanced. Year 1945 to nuclear devices dropped. Instant death. Radiation zones formed. The world stood on the edge of collapse. Status: humans survived. Weapons limited mostly. Peace followed. For a time, climate shift. 21st century. Melting ice, storms, famine, wars over water. Status: humans survived. Built floating cities. Shifted agriculture. Innovated again. One researcher leaned forward. "What is this species?" Tolanarik replied calmly. "They are not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most intelligent, but they are the most resilient." They opened the psychological report on human behavior. The AI translated the summary aloud. Subject: Homo sapiens, known for irrational hope, extreme emotional swings, and survival behavior under impossible odds. The researchers stared at each other, irrational hope. One asked, told Norek gestured toward a human history log. They call it optimism, but in practice, it's something else. The screen showed a clip, a Terran soldier trapped in a burning building surrounded by rubble, bleeding from both legs. His squad was dead. He should have given up. Instead, the man tore off his own belt, used it as a tourniquet, and crawled for 5 hours to escape. He lived, the report read. Subject continued to fight after 62% blood loss, refused to die, recovered, returned to battle 3 weeks later. One researcher closed his eyes. That's not biology. That's madness, no, Tolonarek whispered. That's what makes them so dangerous. Back in council chambers, emergency meeting Ambassador Ilari, of the very species, stepped forward with a message. She had recently visited an abandoned human colony thought to be wiped out by plague. Instead, she found a fully rebuilt city. No outside help, no advanced tech, just humans, digging, fixing, growing. I asked their leader how they did it, she said softly. He just looked at me and said, because no one else was going to do it for us. Chancellor Urox of the Calcary Empire stood up. I propose we declare humans a Class 5 survival species. No further contact. Another counselor shook his head. It's too late, we've already been seen. They all turned toward the center screen. A message was blinking. From Earth. Just one sentence. We are not a threat. Unless you make us. 1. The chamber went silent. In a darker room below the council floor, a shadowed figure from the Strategic Threat Division watched the reports. He opened the human biological file. His lips tightened. 2 redundant lungs. Healing abilities beyond most species. Extreme emotional bonding, especially when defending their young, he muttered. They're not built to dominate. They're built to endure the worst pain imaginable and come back angry. A junior analyst stepped into the room. Sir, the last contact Team Zeta has been declared permanently missing. Location, Earth, no known distress signal. Last image recovered showed a human child. The shadowed figure leaned back. Of course, always the children. That's where their power begins. Earth, unknown location in a quiet underground room. A group of humans watched a council drone crash footage for the 100th time. An older man in a plain coat, gray hair, rough hands stood up. He was no soldier, no politician, just a teacher. He looked at the children beside him. Do you know why they're afraid of you? He asked. One boy shook his head. Because we fight. The teacher smiled. No, because we survive what they can't imagine. Council file addendum species, human threat classification, under review recommendation, minimal contact, no provocation. Notes, they are not aggressive by default, but their history shows a pattern when pushed. They push back harder than any known species. The Draxery Dominion did not believe in fear for centuries. They controlled 5 star systems through raw power. They were cold, efficient, and ruthless. They heard the Galactic Council's whispers about Earth, and they laughed. Humans, said Warlord Jur, the Dominion's regional leader. You're scared of cave walkers with fire sticks. Deem. Council had warned Earth was dangerous, unpredictable, unstable. Jur didn't care. If you want to test a predator, throw meat at it, he said, and see if it chooses. So, he chose meat. The plan. A disposable test. The Dominion's prison world. Varkos 12 held the worst of the worst. War criminals, raiders, and murderers from over a dozen species. Jur picked 30 of them. Simple mission, he told them. Land on Earth, scout, survive, send reports. If they died, it was no loss. If they succeeded, the Dominion would invade. Jur even sent an old cruiser of the Holofang to carry them. No weapons, no escorts. Because in his mind, humans were no threat. The arrival of the Holofang entered Earth orbit without resistance. No defense satellites targeted them, no warning signals, not even a hail. Everything seemed too quiet. The ship released 3 landing pods. Each carried 10 prisoners, dropped over different continents: North America, Eastern Asia, and Africa. Zhur waited in his war room watching the data. Let the monsters meet monsters, he chuckled. Hours passed. Then days. The first pod's signal vanished. After 34 minutes. No alarm. No explosion. Just silence. The second pod lasted longer, 2 hours and 13 minutes before its tracker began broadcasting static filled with screaming. Then nothing. The third pod had landed, sent 1 video. The footage showed prisoners stepping out onto a grassy field. Then came the sound of laughter, a child's laughter. One prisoner turned. Is that? The feed cut out? Joe leaned forward. Replay that, he ordered. The technician rewound the audio. The laughter wasn't innocent. It was cold, mocking, like someone already knew they were being watched and didn't care after that. No signal came back. Joe grew angry. This is sabotage. Send a search ship. The Dominion vessel Clawburn was dispatched to retrieve the Holofang. It found the transport ship in orbit. Empty, no damage, no signs of battle. All doors were sealed but the crew gone. The captain of Clawburn, a veteran, named Cradle, entered the derelict ship with a team they found. Food supplies untouched, escape pods still docked, prisoner logs erased. One thing on the bridge console, a small Terran toy, a spinning top, still turning slowly. Chaos reached for it. As his fingers touched the metal, the ship lights flickered, then the top stopped spinning. He stepped back. "I want this ship off our record," he said quietly. "This is not a ship, it's a grave." Back in Dominion, Commander stared at the final report. His pride collapsed into cold silence. No wreckage, no survivors, no bodies. Just absence. "They erased everything," he muttered. One of his advisors stepped forward. "Sir, we believe Earth did this without firing a shot." Jur looked at him. "Explain." "Psychological warfare, tracking, hunting, possibly mimicry. They may have turned the prisoners against each other." Another advisor added, "Or Earth didn't need to do anything. Just let the planet itself handle them." Jur stood and left the chamber. He entered a private room, closed the door, and activated a forbidden file. It was from a century ago, a report long buried. The title read, "Subject Human Initial. Classification, Adaptive Apex. Recommendation. No engagement under any condition." He had laughed at it once. Now, he believed it. Meanwhile, on Earth, deep in a quiet forest, a man stood over a cracked helmet. It wasn't human tech. He turned to the others in his group, hunters, trackers, and scouts from a small Terran Black Ops team. "No signs of escape," he said. "Same as the last two. What do we do with the rest of the bodies?" He looked up at the trees. "We don't leave bodies, we leave messages." Far above, a council drone passed through Earth's orbit. It picked up a brief signal. Not from Earth. From deep within one of the crashed Dominion pods. The voice was distorted, shaky. "They don't sleep, they don't speak, they just know where you are." Then silence. The council classified the message, red level restricted. Final report to the council: test failed. All 30 prisoners eliminated. Recovery crew found no survivors. Last signal described advanced predator behavior. Note: no Terran military forces were confirmed on site. Possible conclusion: far from Earth, deep within the Vernax genetic research station, a team of alien scientists stared at a display screen in shock. The room was silent. The DNA strand floating in front of them twisted slowly, each code highlighted, each marker pulsing, with impossible patterns. "This cannot be natural," whispered lead geneticist Halrix. This is not evolution. This is construction." The mission: decode humanity after the disappearance of the Dominion's prison ship and the failed first contact mission. The Galactic Council gave permission for one last approach, biological analysis. The Terrans hadn't blocked it. In fact, they had quietly transmitted a full DNA sample through a satellite backchannel, as if to say, "Go ahead. Try to understand." Halrix thought it was arrogance. Now he realized it might have been a warning. "Discovery number 1, redundant organs, lungs," Halrix said, pointing to the scan. "2 of them. Why? Efficiency." His assistant replied. "No," Halrix answered. "Resilience. One fails, the other survives. Even without modern medicine, they live." He moved to the next image. "Kidneys also too. Liver regenerates, blood clots rapidly. Bones break and repair stronger." "This is not adaptation," Halrix whispered. "This is survival priority hard-coded into flesh." Discovery number 2. The rage pathway. The team loaded a new file. "Fight or die, reflex human only. Under stress, the human brain releases a storm of chemicals. Not just adrenaline, but something darker. Something unique. The Vernax called it the red surge. It turns pain into fuel, fear into speed, exhaustion into rage." One scientist shook her head. "This behavior should kill the subject. Heart failure, organ collapse." Halrix pointed to the chart. "It should, but they don't die. They fight harder." They ran a simulation. A human soldier trapped under rubble. Broken leg, crushed arm, surrounded by enemy fire. The AI calculated his survival chance at 0.3%. The simulation ran. The human escaped. He blacked out the pain, dislocated his own shoulder, crawled using one arm, and still killed 2 attackers. Silence filled the lab. Discovery number 3. Genetic ghost. Moved to the deepest part of the genome. What they found there shook them. Buried beneath modern coding were ancient genetic instructions from hundreds of thousands of years ago. Dormant sequences. "These shouldn't still be here," one researcher said. Halrix nodded. "But they are. And worse, they can still activate under stress." They labeled them genetic ghosts. Hidden commands, old memories, primitive rage. "Why keep these?" someone asked. Halrix gave no answer because deep inside he feared the truth. They were made to be unleashed when reason fails. Discovery number 4. The Bond Protocol. The last discovery came from unexpected behavior in human parents. Halrix analyzed several historical reports. A mother lifting a car to save her child. A father shielding his family from bullets, surviving wounds that should have been fatal. The DNA samples showed spikes of unknown molecules when family or tribe were in danger. "Protective instinct?" one asked. "No," Halrix said slowly. "It's a trigger. Threaten their young, and something inside them changes." He turned toward the council AI recorder. "This is why humans cannot be studied by force. Because if they believe they're being hunted, they don't run. They hunt you back. Message to the Council. Genetic report summary species. Human, highly adaptable, pain-resistant, capable of survival in extremes, dormant rage systems. Buried in DNA, emotional defense trigger connected to offspring. Final recommendation. Do not provoke. Do not isolate. Do not threaten their children. Because they are not just a species. They are a reaction. Back on Earth, secure human genetic lab. New Alaska in a quiet underground bunker. Human scientists watched the same data the Vanax had uncovered. They smiled. Do they know? One asked. The head scientist, Dr. Evelyn Sharp, replied. They're starting to. She looked at a secure file marked Genome Lock 9. It had one phrase printed across the front. We didn't evolve to conquer the galaxy. We evolved to survive it. At that moment, a human child in a remote village fell into a frozen river. His heart stopped for 3 minutes. By all logic, he should have died, but he dead in single quotes teed. He woke up hours later, asking if the others were safe. Thousands of light years away, a new alien species intercepted Earth's genetic data. They began testing human cells in a secure lab. One of the samples repaired itself under extreme radiation. Then grew. Then duplicated. Within 12 hours, it became aware, high above the galaxy's outer rim. Deep inside the Council archives of Van Tor, an old historian scrolled through forgotten data files. His name was Karel von, and he had studied galactic wars for nearly 300 years. He had seen hundreds of battle records, thousands of lost civilizations. But something strange kept repeating in the files. Entire planets once tried to fight Earth, but today, those planets no longer exist. Not occupied, not enslaved, not even scorched. They raced the disappeared world. Scroll accessed A-list marked restricted level crimson. It listed 12 once-known star systems, each with a date, species name, and one common detail. Final known contact, following human engagement. The list included Tresari Prime, once home to 4 billion Gernix cluster, known for advanced weapons research. Falther 9, a mining world with military fortresses. Valix 3, home of the infamous Valexian raiders, all gone. No wreckage, no signals, no survivors. Karell leaned closer to the screen. There were no Terran battle logs, no official records of war. Just quiet entries months or years after contact. Tresari Prime status, silent, no biosigns, planet intact. Falther 9, core collapsed, no known weapons used. Valix 3, vegetation overtaking cities, empty. He whispered to himself, what kind of species ends wars without making war? The Valexian example. The Valexian raiders were infamous, brutal slavers. They struck weak colonies, avoided strong ones. One day, they attacked a small human supply outpost near Saturn. They didn't expect a fight, but one supply ship survived and sent a distress call to Earth. Earth didn't respond with bombs. Instead, a trade embargo began. Every Terran station stopped selling food to Valexian ships that then fuel, then medical supplies. Within 3 months, no species would trade with them. Earth never raised its voice, never fired a shot, but the galaxy followed Earth's lead. By year's end, Valix 3 was abandoned. Karell found a line in an old merchant captain's journal. You don't cross humans. They don't destroy you, they make sure you destroy yourself. The Shadow Fleet 1 record spoke of the Gernix cluster, which boasted experimental stealth fleets. They once bragged they could invade Earth unseen. Their entire fleet jumped into Sol system and never returned. Karell stared at the last log. Entering Earth's space, no human ships in sight. Preparing descent, then static. Later, a rogue Gernix escape pod was found drifting. Its pilot was alive barely. He was blind. Speech damaged. Muscles twitching. All he said was, they didn't fire at us. They just knew we were there. We couldn't see them, but they were already inside our ship. He died 5 minutes later. Karell looked up from his screen. The lights in the archive flickered. He whispered, they don't win wars. They end them before we understand what happened. Back in the council chamber, Karell gave his report to the high table. Some laughed. Others looked uneasy. The Calcari representative snarled, are you saying Earth has a secret weapon? Karell shook his head. No, I believe their weapon is time. They wait. They remember. And when you forget what you did to them, they arrive. Another counselor asked, then what do you suggest? Karell looked around the room slowly. Stop provoking them, because the last time someone ignored Earth's patience, they lost everything and didn't even know it. Meanwhile, on Earth, inside a hidden Terran facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Rourke stood before a large screen. It showed council diplomats arguing about human containment. His assistant entered. Sir, we intercepted a data pull. Someone's digging into lost world records. Rourke didn't react. He simply said, let them dig. The assistant blinked. You're not worried? Rourke's voice was calm. Every time a species attacked us, we buried the blade. Not in their chests, but in their memory. He turned off the screen. Fear fades, but silence haunts forever. Final council report. Updated threat note. Human engagement results. No known large-scale wars. No mass bombings, yet entire civilizations vanished after conflict. No Terran claim of responsibility. No survivors to tell the truth. Conclusion. Do not mistake silence for mercy. some predators roar, but the deadliest don't make a sound. The halls of the deep core archive were quiet to quiet. Few ever came here. Even fewer left with answers. Archivist Dren Malcor, a seasoned researcher from the Vari species, was one of the few trusted to explore this level of the Galactic Council's most secure data vault. He wasn't looking for trouble, just a reference file on early contact missions, but instead he found something strange. A file folder marked simply, Project Silent Dawn Classification Locked Pre-Council Error. Notes, Human Contact Terminated Record Purged by Order X7. Dren paused. Humans contacted before the Council even formed. That couldn't be. Earth was a new member, barely 150 years known to the greater galaxy. So who or what catalogued them centuries earlier? And why hide it? He overrode the lock. He entered emergency research codes. The archive screen flickered. A dusty, grainy video file. Loaded date, unknown location, unknown species speaking, unknown but the voice rough. Robotic spoke in Terran English. We found the humans. Their planet is unstable. Weather erratic, wildlife hostile. But the species, they're wrong. To advance for the stage they appear in. Their eyes recognize us. They shouldn't. The video ended. No name, no time, no source, just one text entry below it. Do not engage. They are not ready, but they are watching. Dren reported it to the Council. He expected disbelief. Instead, he was told to stop. Leave the file. Archivist said the Council's security AI. This data was not meant to be uncovered. But why? Dren asked. What are we afraid of? Silence. Then the AI replied, because if you found them once, and tried to control them, and failed badly enough to erase it all, that failure must have been terrifying. Unregistered starships at night. Dren went rogue. He dug deeper, quietly, secretly, and he found evidence of a lost expedition. Long before Earth was mapped, the team had never returned, and their records were deleted across all systems, but fragments remained. All tech logs. Glimpses of a Terran landscape. An old message. They found our scout. We pretended it crashed. It didn't. They sent it back, but rebuilt. It's stronger and it watched us. Earth. Undisclosed Terran intelligence facilities inside a heavily shielded mountain. Human operatives were monitoring Council data traffic. One agent, Carlson, whisper flagged a ping. Someone in the archives touched a dead file. She said. Commander Rourke stepped in. Silent Dawn. She nodded. We let them see just enough. He asked. Yes, sir. He looked at the blinking screen. Then it's working. They're starting to remember what we made them forget. Dren was taken the next day. Dren Malcor didn't report to the archives. His personal shuttle was missing. His room was untouched. All that remained was a handwritten note left on his desk. They weren't discovered. They let us think we discovered them. And when we got too close, they erased it. In a shadowed council meeting, Chancellor Urax stood before the leaders of 17 galactic species. We have a problem, he said. He showed them the original Project Silent Dawn footage. The room went still. This predates the council by over 600 years. One elder whispered. How did we forget? We didn't, Rox answered. They made us. The room erupted in murmurs. Are you saying Earth has memory manipulation tech? Someone asked. No, Rox said slowly. I'm saying we don't know what they can do, and that is more dangerous than any weapon. An old alien admiral speaks. One voice cut through the noise. Admiral Rex, a 900-year-old war veteran from the extinct Drexen fleet. He rose slowly. I remember Earth, he said. Long ago we chased a signal, thought it was just noise. We sent a probe, it vanished. We sent a frigate, no return. But we did get one thing back. He pulled up a scarred piece of Drexen metal, displayed under glass. Into it, in perfect Drexen characters, were the words, "Do not try again." He looked around the room. I retired after that day, Tarek said, because I realized we weren't exploring, we were trespassing. The Galactic Council had never bowed before any species. Not the warriors of not the mind-weavers of Voss, not even the ancient Harrowin who once moved planets with thought, but this time they had no choice. The votes had passed, whispers had turned to fear. Too many star systems had gone silent after provoking Earth, and now, with full Council agreement, they prepared a message. Not one of warning. Not one of threat, but of peace. The Council's message to Earth inside the main Council hall. A tall translator drone read aloud, to the people of Terra. We, the Galactic Council, recognize your sovereignty, your strength, and your right to exist without interference. We humbly request permanent peace, and offer full recognition as a dominant species. The message was sent through 17 secure channels. Then, there waited. Earth did not answer immediately for 3 full days. There was silence, don't reply, no signal, not even static. Many council members grew nervous at Earth rejected peace. Then, without warning, every screen in the council hall turned. Black-white text appeared on each message received. Processing. 3 more seconds passed. Then Earth replied. Earth's response. A calm female voice spoke. Not aggressive, not angry, but controlled, unshaken, prepared. We accept your request for peace. But there will be conditions. Non-negotiable. The council chamber froze. Conditions. Someone whispered. The voice continued. Condition 1. No Terran child may be scanned, studied, or spoken to by off-world species without written consent and oversight. Condition 2. Terran space including uninhabited systems marked by our beacons will be respected. Trespassers will not be warned twice. Condition 3. No biological research is to be done on human samples, living or dead, by non-labs. Condition for any attempt to interfere with human development, thought, or genetics will result in termination of diplomatic ties. Condition 5. If any member state supports aggression against Earth openly or secretly, Earth will not retaliate. We will remove memory of your species from existence. The room turned ice cold. Reactions. Many alien leaders sat back in silence. The tone wasn't threatening, it was calm. To calm. Because only those who never need to raise their voice speak like that. The Viari ambassador finally stood. You would erase us. Earth's voice replied, not with fire, not with war. We will simply undo you, trade by trade, signal by signal. History will forget you ever walked among the stars. Then came the final line. You've seen it before, you just don't remember. The screens shut off. Council emergency session. The panic began behind closed doors. We can't accept this, said the Drexian commander. They're holding the entire galaxy hostage, are they? Kirill Vaughn, the historian, asked. He stood slowly. Or are they just telling the truth? Meanwhile, on Earth, in a quiet observatory on the dark side of the moon, 4 humans stood before a glowing screen. They wore no medals, no military ranks. They were not soldiers, they were keepers. Did they accept the terms? One asked a woman, nodded. Double quotes, yes. They know now, fear is not the weapon, it's memory. The others looked out toward the stars. We gave them peace, not because we fear war, but because we remember what happened the last time. The lost truth in a deep underground vault on Earth. A secured archive slowly opened. Inside, sealed files marked pre-discovery. Among them was a handwritten page. No digital copy, no translation, just one sentence. They found us before, and they tried to make us kneel. Now we stand. And they remember nothing but the silence. Final galactic report. Human species summary. Species name: human origin, Earth Sol 3. Status: autonomous, unchallenged. Threat classification: adaptive strategic apex response. Recommendation: comply with conditions, maintain distance, avoid escalation. Final note: we do not understand how they survived, but we know what happens when they are pushed. They do not conquer, they wait, and when they respond, nothing remains.